What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down some big news involving the markets as we have new economic data coming out for tomorrow, not to mention another FSD update for Tesla. I'm also going to talk about what the charts are suggesting. But just notes that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, for Tesla, I just want to mention that as I predicted yesterday, we're looking bullish on Tesla. We got a nice looking pump, especially as we broke the resistance at that 217 area and 220. So I'm going to be looking at 225 as our next target for Tesla. I think we're going to test that for tomorrow as long as this trend remains. And then once 225 breaks, if we were to break it, I'd be looking for the 230s. So we look very, very bullish on Tesla. We're seeing some nice pumps coming to SPY, ES, the QQQ, Nvidia, and the others. And overall, the market is doing a great job. So I am leaning more bullish going into the markets for tomorrow, looking at these setups. So I will break down more information about that, about why I think that in the next couple of minutes. But I first want to go over some data and news. So just notes that's tomorrow. It's going to be Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. We just have a couple of Fed speakers like Bostic and Barr giving speeches, bill auctions, and then the New York Fed Treasury purchases. At 10:30 a.m., this is just very minor data. The Treasury purchases come out. May not affect the market too much. Then we have a bill auction followed by a bunch of Fed speakers, nothing too crazy. For Wednesday, that's when data gets serious as we have the FOMC minutes. That's going to cause a high amount of volatility because they'll give us more insights on the Fed, their policies, and what they think about interest rates. And we also have, important PMI data reports coming out for Thursday, and then the Jackson Hole Symposium. Not to mention Jerome Powell giving a speech on Friday. So Wednesday through Friday will be very serious for the markets, but then tomorrow is going to be another kind of like free day where we have some more room to just run and not really worry as much about data. So that's what I'm seeing for Tuesday in terms of data. Don't forget that there's currently a 77% chance the Fed gives us a 25 basis point cut and a 23% chance we get 50 basis points. So far, the market is favoring that 25 basis point cuts. This will be impacted by the FOMC minutes as well. Fear is making up sentiments, but we're shifting rightward towards neutral and also towards greed. So the gauge is becoming more greedy as time goes on, less fearful than before. Keep in mind, last week we were at extreme fear as the market was dipping. Now the market is becoming less fearful. Momentum is still very, very greedy as we're starting to see a lot more buyers defending. We're also well above our key moving averages, so the market's breaking out. The puts and call option positioning is currently shifting. The 5-day average is dipping. So we're starting to see a lot more of these shorts being closed. Institutions are closing shorts and hedging by going long. By hedging, they're pushing the market up higher. And this has been going on for the past 5-6 days. So we're starting to see a lot more buyers stepping in. The VIX is also looking bearish, continuing to fall. We'll be watching it at some key levels, but it's still looking bearish as the market looks bullish. Just a few more things, guys, and I'll get on with the charts. Just note that we have Palo Alto Networks announcing earnings today. And then for earnings for Tuesday through Thursday, we have like Lowe's, not to mention a few more like Xpong and Lazy Boy. And then for Wednesday, we have Target, Macy's, and lots of retail. And then Thursdays when we have Peloton and Ross. So that's what I'm seeing for earnings. Nothing too crazy. As far as Tesla goes, I just want to mention that they have the Hardware 4 update, which is still meeting its full potential. Right now, it's in emulation mode, which means it's only running about as fast as Hardware 3 for now, but this will shift later on once we get the next AI update. They also mentioned that AI 4 is running a FSD model that has 5 times the parameters, which is once again resulting in a more smooth driving experience. And Musk mentioned that they should be able to provide 8 times the parameters as time goes on. So that's some good news for them. And on top of this, they're going to be increasing capacities. They're going to be looking at faster hardwares over time and a bunch of different improvements to the AI divergence. So very, very cool stuff in my opinion. And then there's also been some talk about the next FSD update, or at least the latest one. So this one has come out. There's some mixed reactions so far. It's been kind of like praised for having very, very good abilities to avoid obstacles on the roads. But there is some criticism over the fact that it's not as assertive when driving. It could be very, very slow with lane changing and things like that. So it's gotten some, criticism here and there. But overall, I still think there's a lot of improvements that are being made. So I think that's, like I said, it says it right over here. Many people are saying that they're getting very closer to autonomous driving and things are improving a lot. So we'll see what happens during the robotaxi event in less than 2 months. Very, very good stuff for Tesla. For more news, Cantor Fitzgerald gave Tesla a neutral rating. I think they reiterated this just recently, once again saying that Tesla will perform equally with the markets. Truist Securities gave them a hold rating for now. And then on top of that, the price price ratio is going up as Tesla's building some strength. Tuesdays tend to be green about 50 2% of the time historically. And we tend to see more volatility around 1 p.m. specifically. So look for volatility then. And besides that, I'm not really seeing anything else that's too crazy on the news about Tesla. Volume is at 76 million, so it went up just a little bit. I would like to see volume get into the hundreds of millions for this thing to really start pushing. Perhaps we need another catalyst to get this to really start going. But overall, being up 3% on low volume is a very, very good sign. So what if we do get good volume and good news? Tesla will run much harder. So, anyways, regardless of volume, we look bullish. We look very, very bullish on Tesla. Very, very nice looking breakouts. My two favorite setups were Tesla and the IWM, and both of them saw some nice moves today. So, in my opinion, I think Tesla will test 225 tomorrow. If we turn back down, look at 220 as support. If we lose 220, look at the 215 area followed by 212. Watch those supports in case we end up dipping, and just note we look more bullish. As long as we hold above 220, we favor upside. There's a good chance we could be pushing all the way up for that 225 area. If that breaks, I think we're easily going up to 227.5 and then 230, and I think we're looking quite good. The 4 hours looking bullish for Tesla. The daily is looking bullish. I just like to call both sides, both levels on the downside and the upside, just so that you guys are prepared for anything, right? Because anything can happen in the markets. But just know that I'm favoring upside right now. I'm favoring upside. I think the chart looks bullish. The daily looks very, very bullish. The daily is suggesting 227 is likely coming, followed by 230. So we look very bullish on Tesla, and I'm favoring upside for tomorrow, in my personal opinion. So Tesla looks bullish, forming a nice cup, and we're favoring the upside. For SPY, it's the same thing. We look quite bullish. The daily is showing that we're going to be testing 560 very soon. If we break 560, look for the gap fill for 562.8, followed by all-time highs. So that's where SPY is heading towards. If we end up rejecting, we end up failing to hold 558. Look at 556 as support. If that breaks, we turn back down. But this chart is favoring upside. The 4 hour, the daily look very, very bullish. And we're going to be looking for a push all the way up into the 562 area if we break 560. Excuse me, if we break 560. So I think 560 will be tested on SPY. If we break that, 562 is likely coming. We look bullish nonetheless. For Nvidia, we look bullish as well. We're going to be looking at this 130 area. So just know that 130 is going to be a tough resistance for Nvidia. We could get close to like 132 and kind of shuffle up here. We are known for shuffling between 130 and 132. But if we break 132, we'll be looking for basically 135. And if we reject off 130, we'll be looking for a dip back down towards all the way down towards this 127 area, followed by 125. But in my personal opinion, I think that there's a good chance that we push for 130 to 132. We kind of shuffle up here, and we try to break this to push even higher for much higher levels like 135. But I think Nvidia is looking very, very bullish. I think that there's a good chance we test 130 to 132. We try to push a little bit more. And if we break 132, look for 135 plus. The chart is looking bullish. It's on a very, very nice uptrend, but we are approaching some tough resistance. So watch it very, very carefully. ES looks bullish. We've actually broken past 5,600 and also 5,625. So the chart is favoring 5,650 by tomorrow. If we were to lose 5,600, look for it to back down to 5,560. But this chart's favoring, once again, 5,650 for a nice push for these imbalances. So I think 5,650 is likely coming. We look bullish on ES. The 4 hours looking pretty good, and I favor the upside. For SPX, we're looking bullish. Look at 5,600 as our key support. If we lose 5,600, we could be dipping back down towards the support at around the 5,670 area, all the way down here. But as long as we're above 5,600, I think I favor a push for 5,620, followed by the gap fill for 5,650. So we look bullish on SPX. We're favoring upside. That's looking more probable in my personal opinion. For Bitcoin, we're looking pretty good. Look at 59,000 is our resistance. If it rejects here, we're going back down to 58,000. If we break this, we could push higher. Watch it carefully at resistance. We could dip from there, so watch it. We'll see if we get a rejection or not, but I think it might try to push for 59,500. Once again, guys, Tesla's doing a great job at holding up. I just want to show you guys these levels. We look bullish. We favor 225, excuse me, for tomorrow, and we may even try to break that. For NQ, we're looking bullish. I'm favoring a test of 20,000 by tomorrow. I think there's a good chance we go a little higher to approach that resistance. If that breaks, we're going to go even higher. For now, we're doing a great job. We need to lose basically 19,700 to turn back down, and this chart's favoring 20,000. For the QQQ, we look bullish, in my opinion. If we were to lose 480, I'd be looking for a move back down towards 475. As long as we hold 480, we'll be looking for a push all the way up towards 485. I think 485 is looking very probable, in my opinion. There's a good chance we end up testing that. And I think that we could try to fill the gap all the way we filled the gap for 480, and I think that's going to be our next target. So as long as we hold 480 tomorrow, look for 485. I think there's a good chance we go higher on the QQQ. We're doing a great job, and this is favoring a nice push to the upside. Right now, Apple's looking decent, but like I called out yesterday, this 227 area is kind of tough. If we fail to break that, we could be returning to 223. And if we do break it, we're going to go to about 230. I think what's going to happen tomorrow is we test 227. If that breaks, we're going up to the gap fill, this imbalance fill, I mean, up to about 230. So look for a test of 227 tomorrow. See if we break it. If not, 230 is going to be coming. For Palantir, I want to mention that this is looking more bullish. If we manage to hold above 32.5 tomorrow, we're looking for 33.5 as potential targets. If we reject here, look at 31.25 as our support. This is favoring upside for 33 plus. For Supermicro, we're kind of stuck in the middle, going back and forth and back and forth. Look at 640. This entire range is our resistance. If we break that, we're going to be looking for a big push. And if we reject and lose 602, we're going to be dipping back down towards 580. So we'll see how things go. For the daily is looking more bullish. We're basically looking at 637 as our resistance. If we break that, we're going to try to fill the gap up towards 670. If we hit this, we could reject and dip back down. But I favor 637.5 to break, and then eventually that gap fill is going to be coming, in my opinion. So we're doing a good job on Supermicro. I think we're going to be testing 637.5, maybe either shuffle around that area or maybe even break it to go back up. I'll be watching to see what the move ends up being. On Rivian, we're on a bit of a downtrend. It was trying to rebound today, but it didn't do a great job. So I'm still concerned about this. We still have this bearish wedge that's very present. So, in my opinion, I need to see this break past 13.5 and then break out of this wedge to get back up to 14 plus to turn back up. If we fail to do so, we're on a downtrend. We're going to likely just continue to downtrend back down to 13. If that fails, we're coming down to about 12.5. I favor downside on Rivian. I think there's a good chance we do dip, so watch to see if that ends up being the case. There's a good chance that's going to end up being our target. For SoFi, we're doing a good job at trying to hold up. Make sure you watch the resistance all the way up around this 7.5 area. If that breaks, we're going up to about 7.66. If we lose 7.7, the support right here is 7.35. We're going to be dipping back down towards 7.2, if not lower. So I think that the chart is favoring upside for a nice cup, and I think we're going to continue to push to at least 7.6 plus. So I favor upside for SoFi, in my personal opinion. For other tickers out there, such as the IWM, I think that with that gap to fill above, we're looking at 216 as a potential resistance. If we lose 213, we turn back down to 211, but this chart's favoring the 216.5 area. I think the IWM Russell 2000 is looking bullish, forming a very, very nice looking cup. It has a very similar setup as that of Tesla. So I think it's doing a great job at holding up, and it's going to likely continue on this trend. So I think 216.5 is likely coming. If we break this, we could continue to push up towards these resistance levels like 220. So I think that the IWM has a lot of potential. In my personal opinion, I think that we look bullish. It's a very, very nice looking setup. And then what I really like about this is the daily. Let me just show you this real quick before I switch to the next one. The daily looks good. It wants to fill that gap for 216. And there's this imbalance to fill. If we, break through the 216s, I think this might take us all the way up to like 223. So it's looking really nice right now. Very, very beautiful setup. And I think that there's a good chance this will continue on this trend. So it looks very bullish on the daily. I'm going to be looking for upside tomorrow. For AMD, the daily looks very bullish as well. Let me call out that the 4-hour is in a very, very important zone. We're above our 200 EMA. If we lose 151.58, we turn back down to about 146. As long as we hold above that, we are favoring 160. We have an imbalance to fill towards 160 and then 162. So I think what's going to happen is tomorrow we're going to be testing 155 as resistance. You can see how we did reject here. We kind of shuffled here and rejected a few times. I favor we test 155 and then we'll break it and push up towards 160. I think there's a very, very good chance of upside in my personal opinion. For ARM, we need to hold above 127. If 127 fails, we're going to be dipping back down to 120, by the way. As long as we hold above 127, I favor a move up to about 138. This is going to be our 4-hour 200 EMA, and then these imbalances will fill out around 143. So I favor upside. I think this is looking more bullish. As long as we hold above 127, we favor 135 at least, and then 138. So it's looking pretty good. Coinbase is doing a pretty good job at holding up. It just notes that we're kind of shuffling here. So if we hypothetically lose 203 and then 200, we turn back down. As long as we hold above 203, we favor upside for 208. If 208 breaks, I think we're heading all the way up towards the 212 area. So watch those levels. I think it's doing a good job at holding above 203, and I favor that's going to try to push up for 208 all over again tomorrow. But this will depend on a lot of different factors. So we'll see if the moves end up playing out or not. But just know that right now we are favoring the upside. For Amazon, I like the setup. We look more bullish. I think we will be testing 180 soon, but we got to break that 200 EMA, the 180 area to fill this gap. So watch this on Amazon. We have a nice daily gap. If we break 180, we're going to be going all the way up to about 184 on Amazon. If we lose 175, we turn back down to fill the gap, down to 172. My gut is telling me that 180 is coming, and then we're going to try to fill the gap to go even higher towards 184. I think the daily is looking pretty good. I favor upside. I think there's a good chance we try to fill that gap. I think Amazon's doing a good job so far. So, in my opinion, we look bullish. I favor the upside. And I think there's a good chance that this will continue to push. But make sure you watch 175 as critical support just to make sure we hold. For others out there like Meta, Meta has 530's resistance followed by 537. And then our key support happens to be down here around 525. If 525 fails on Meta, we dip back down. So for Meta, I'm kind of in the middle with this one because we're not as super bullish or super bearish. We're kind of in the middle. So just watch your levels. I think it might retest 530 tomorrow, but I'm not as confident about this breaking out. I think it's more likely to just be range bound for the time being. The setup isn't that great. It looks like it could be topping, but like I said, we'll have to be patient with this. If we lose 525, this thing is going to dip to 520. If we lose that, we turn bearish. We'll be looking for a bigger dip. And if we break past 534, I think that we're going to be pushing for like 538 and eventually higher levels. Otherwise, I think we're just going to shuffle between 530 and 525. I think that's most likely going to happen for now. And we'll see what kind of reaction we get later on. Microsoft is looking more bullish. As long as we hold above 420, I'm going to be looking for 425. If we lose 420, look for a dip for 417. But this chart is favoring 425. In my opinion, we look more bullish. I think this is a nice accumulation setup, a nice inverse head and shoulders. I'll be looking for our 425 area, the 200 EMA to be tested. For Google, we look more bullish, got a nice double bottom. I think there's a good chance we try to push all the way up towards this 170 area. If we lose 168, I think Google could be dipping back down towards 166. 166 is going to be critical support for us because that's where we had some very, very tough resistance. So let me just mark that area just for you guys, like right over here. 166 is going to be key for us. We got to hold above that. Since we broke this structure, the odds are favoring we push up towards at least 172. So as long as we're gonna be testing 170 tomorrow. If we break that, I'm gonna be looking for 172. That looks more favorable to me. Look at 23 as resistance and then 22.34 as support. We're kind of stuck in the middle of the game, so it might shuffle for a bit. And if we break that, we'll continue to pump. For AMC, we're stuck in the middle. If we lose 4.96, we'll be dipping back down to some balance around 4.82. If we break past 5.05, look for 5.1. We're just stuck in the middle, kind of shuffling. DJT looks more bearish. It's really failing to break the 220 EMAs. So I favor it's going to be getting very close to 20. I think it might dip even more. It's looking bearish. And I've been saying that for the last week. It's been looking bearish to me. The VIX is looking kind of bearish as well. We haven't really seen this support hold it. So I'm looking at this 14 area to see if that holds. To me, it looks bearish. It's just barely at that area. So it might continue to dip as the market continues to pump. The 10-year treasury yield is also going to make a big move depending on the FOMC minutes coming out for Wednesday and also Jerome Powell's speech on Friday. And the dollar index is also looking more bearish. We had a nice inverted cup and handle. But when you really zoom out of this, you guys are going to notice something important. This has a target of potentially hitting the very low 100s all the way back here. So I could be looking for it to get closer to the lower 101s as the market remains bearish, as the market remains bullish, excuse me. This is turning bearish. And this is also looking weak on the daily. That suggests that the market is bullish and the dollar is bearish. I want to make that very, very clear. So, what is my view of the market? In conclusion, guys, I want to remind you all that I can't always predict everything that's going to happen in the news. That's the reason why I tend to go over like bullish and bearish levels just so you guys are prepared to be safe. And I tell you guys what my bias tends to be. So, right now, my bias is upside for the markets. But just know, guys, that sometimes it's dependent on the charts. So if there's a day where the market's completely indecisive, if the market doesn't know which way it's going to go, I'm not going to just tell you I'm super bullish or bearish. I might have to just say it depends on the level. I sometimes have to do that because the market forces me to do that. because I try to be unbiased when I make my videos. And then there are other days when the market looks overwhelmingly more bullish or more bearish, and I give you guys a direction. So I try to give you guys direction the large majority of my videos, and most of them I do, but sometimes I have to be a little bit ambiguous when things are less certain. Okay. So sometimes that happens. That's why in my video yesterday, I was a little bit less certain. I had to just wait for the charts to play out. And it happens sometimes. That's just a part of trading. But in the majority of my videos, I will give you guys a prediction and tell you what I think I favor. So right now, I favor upside. I think the market has a lot of upside potential looking at Tesla, the IWM, and the others. So we'll see how things go. With that being said, thank you for listening. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another update video. Please have a great day, night, or evening, wherever you guys are around the world. And I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you and peace out.